I was actually sued for defamation by a politician. Full of my media friends. I think he was driving on the road and he got pulled to the side, and then this group of bodyguards just like threatened him. Hi, my name is Amar Shah Mohsen. I'm a reporter for the Vibes News Portal, and I cover mostly hottest political news in Malaysia. I like covering certain politicians for the simple fact that they give good stories. I would say sexy headlines, those kind of things, stories that sells. For people like Datuk Sri Tajuddin, Nazri Aziz. These are the politicians that, whatever they say is usually going to make headlines.
Janganlah cuba nak probok-probok. It's not good.
So I would credit this to our social media team as well as our editors, our desk. When it comes to like breaking news, for example, during the whole political crisis, when Muhyiddin stepped down and Ismail Sabri was about to be sworn in as Prime Minister. But at that time, we didn't know who was the Prime Minister and whose name is being, linked to that position. We have a couple of, editors with really good contacts in the Istana and also in Putrajaya as well. But I think that being in the industry and covering mostly political stuff, like, we have to know the who's who in politics, especially the top leaders, some of the more popular politicians. But obviously, even if you ask me today, like if I can name all 222 MPs, I wouldn't be able to do that. There are some, who are not that prominent, who don't always, for example, go to parliament, or who don't voice out about stuff. When it comes to reporting, I try my best not to be influenced by these thoughts among the public because then I'm afraid that it would affect the way I write things. But it's good that we get this kind of views because we understand like the whole situation on the ground, how people are feeling about politics today. Sometimes we could use that feeling among the rakyat to also frame our questions, for example, when we interview politicians and all that. I'm sure politicians know as well that a lot of Malaysians are fed up with what's happening in the political arena. You still need to be involved when it comes to voting because by voting you determine who governs the country. I think it was about 3 years back, I was actually sued for defamation by a politician. Basically, the politician was questioning, my reporting, saying that I was defaming him. Sometimes they would say, it's not accurate, and if that's the case, we would usually tell them, why not you issue a statement, and we will run your statement to counter this particular article. And oftentimes they do. But I have heard of a couple of my media friends who have actually been threatened by bodyguards of politicians. One of them actually got, I think he was driving on the road and he got pulled to the side, and then this group of bodyguards just like threatened him to like stop like getting that politician or trying to get the politician. I wouldn't name that politician, obviously. So obviously we need to have a close relationship with the politicians. In fact, there were times when politicians would call me and ask me if I would be interested in working on a particular story instead of me calling them. And sometimes the information that they gave us quite intense, quite hot in a political sense. I would say that it's quite important for you to maintain that good relationship with all politicians, regardless whether they're from the government or the opposition, because you would want to get them for comments in the future, and especially when it involves a lot of this sensitive information. Maybe a couple of times, for example, 2018 general election, I was covering in Johor and I was there for about a month. Obviously, because it's the general election, so all our off days were free, so we were working 24/7 every day for about a month. And after the general election, for the next couple of months, there were a lot of controversies. I've done a bit of crime, entertainment, as well as court. The whole thing about political coverage is that it's very hot. It's quite fun. You want to know what happens next. I think that particular point, like drives a lot of these political reporters to just keep writing. Behind every story, I would like readers to engage among themselves for our stories, for our headlines, to create discussions and discourse among Malaysians. I'm Amar from The Vibes. Find my articles and other breaking news on the Lumi News app.